Okay, so like we promised our last video, we're going to talk about the biggest fight we ever had. Basically, one sentence that lit me on fire.
And honestly, at the time, I didn't even think it was a big deal. I thought it was not even a big deal at all. So Katie will kind of
And this ties
let you
into
know.
our last video, which talks about the rules. A couple that I broke, one that she broke, and basically it was a silent fight that she didn't know we were
Yeah.
having.
And when she talks about the rules, she means the 5 rules of friendship that we
Yep.
talked about in our last video. But go
Yep.
go ahead.
Well, I'm Katie.
I'm Lisa.
It's Friendship Formula. Welcome back.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining us.
Yes.
So my family had a house up north, and we would go every year, and it was very last minute. I will give that much. But at the time, I had kids. I was married. I was working, and my mom called me and said, "Do you want to go close the house?" Which means I get to go up there, like her and I have done in the past,
Hmm.
and
For
just
free.
for free and basically shut off the hot water. That's how you close the
Yeah.
house,
So
right?
yeah, and you would do that every year in the
Every year.
fall,
Yep, in the
right? In the
fall.
later fall, right? Because the
Right.
house was only open during the summer.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So this was a time, again, I've talked about in the past, where I felt distance because of her CrossFit, distance because of my responsibilities to my family. So it was a Saturday morning. I'll never forget. I was sitting at my countertop, and my husband's not going to go. He's going to stay with the kids. So I'm like, I'm calling Lisa. This is a done, impromptu, unplanned, totally fun thing we're going to do. So I call her. I'm like, Lisa, listen, pack up because we're going to go up north and close the house because nobody else wants to do it, which I love doing it. I'd never done it by myself, but it was just something. Oh, she says, I can't. I have to go to the gym today. Yeah.
So just by the look on her face right there, you can see how that went over.
That was the
My
one line. And I'm like, really? Here's what I thought, which I didn't say out loud. So what does that break? Well, remember, when you're angry in the moment, it's best not to say anything. They'll feel
a
attacked.
lot of times it
A lot
is,
of times.
yes.
So in my mind, I thought, really? All the times when she says, I'm inflexible, I can't do this, I can't do that. The one time, well, there were other times,
Yeah.
but a one big time where we can like go for 3 days
Yeah.
free. And it was a beautiful weekend. And I remember because I was by myself, it was a beautiful weekend. And I'm like, is she for real right now? And I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, okay. So, mind you, I'd never been to the house alone. And so I was a little scared. But neither here nor there, I was like, I'm going.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, you're just going to go? I said, yep, I'm going by myself because she has to go to the gym, which is obviously more important than a 3 day free weekend up north in a beautiful fall weekend.
With her best friend. With her best
Exactly.
friend. Yeah. I mean, you asked me more than once. I think you said on the phone, like you said here, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like
You have to go to the gym.
I'm going to work out. And
And I say she
I,
was committed, but to me at that time it was to a fault.
I was very, very
And it
committed.
wasn't to a
Like,
fault to her, but to me at that moment I was like, the gym?
and I didn't realize it. Like I was like,
Right.
eh. I think I think you called me like 3 times.
I don't
Or
even remember. I remember driving
yeah.
up there by myself and thinking, you know what? It's a good time to reflect with yourself, do things. I did all the things that her and I would normally do together um, by myself. I was scared being in the house by myself. Because we always talked about it being haunted and stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was my grandparents' house. But it was kind of like, so what rules did I break?
You, I think, broke the honesty rule
Hmm.
because I did not know
Hmm.
that she was that disappointed and maybe
Disappointed.
angry
Hmm.
for
Shocked.
for a shocked, I get, yeah,
Hmm.
but for a long time. Like I did not know until a long time after like how angry she was that I did not go on that trip. And
Right.
she's right. There was no reason why I couldn't. There was
So,
no reason whatsoever. I could have easily just packed up and hit the road.
right. So the rule that she broke
Mhm.
was flexibility.
I did.
And I have to accept that because I broke many rules of flexibility, but I thought there were rules of flexibility I broke due to, okay, I'm sorry, more important things than going to the gym. Seriously. Okay. Like catechism. Hey man, I had to do it.
We've talked about that in a previous
We
video
have.
too. And only the fact that I knew she was doing it every Tuesday and would never stop complaining about having to drive
I
all the
did
time.
complain.
Yeah.
But my hurt came from she complains all the time about how inflexible I am. And here I am presenting to her, I'm going. The kids are staying with their dad perfectly. He doesn't watch his kids. He loves staying with the kids. And he was like, yeah, go. I mean,
Yeah.
literally it was a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I really was taken aback by her saying no, because the one thing that she has always been is ready to go.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat. So I broke the rule of being honest.
In that moment, like you were eventually honest with
Yeah,
me.
but I think I was too angry at that moment to say anything.
Yeah.
So I said nothing.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Because then
I probably said, like, for real, dude?
100% you said that. Yeah. But here's the thing, if you would have said more in like the fight conversation, right, would have escalated. That might have even just like ruined your weekend or something.
Yeah,
like,
because
because then you were already mad enough.
and I knew she wasn't going to change her mind. That much I knew.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, really, dude, we can go,
Like missing the gym for 3 days is going to hurt me.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we always did lots of physical activities up there. So it's not like we just
Right.
sat around and did nothing. I mean, we did stuff there.
Yeah.
So
In the fact, I think that I think it's more so now than it was then, because I understood then, like the kids were young. But yeah, I would be like, let's do something spontaneous sometime.
spontaneous.
And, we didn't a lot, but she had young kids, so that's fine. But I get why you were angry, because it's like I'm harping on it, not necessarily harping on it, not like I do now. I harp on it now way
That's
more
okay.
than I did then.
But that's okay, because sometimes I need that. I mean, honestly, I do. I need that. I wouldn't call it harping, encouraging.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, come on. You can go into the store.
We can go to a mall or
Yeah,
something.
we can. And
But yeah.
actually, whenever we do, like when we Christmas shop and stuff, I'm always glad, because she's so much better at it than I am. But it was like the me, I was angry. I don't know. Actually, I was really angry at the time. Even my husband was like, "Are you serious? She's not going to go because she has to go to the gym." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He goes, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm going." I probably said, F it, I'm going." And I don't remember if I called you. I don't remember much.
I think you called me on your way up there, or when you
Probably.
got there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But when did we really talk about it though? Like, I didn't know right away that she was super angry with me. Like, it's not something we talked about in the first couple days.
No, definitely
No.
not. And I knew I was angry, but I'm like, well, I'm just going to let it go, because at that time, that's who she was as far as her commitments, which I get. I don't know how long it took for us to talk about it, because still in the time, even when I came back, her commitment was so much to CrossFit that she wouldn't have understood. She wouldn't, because that was important to her. But what was important to me is you're saying to me, you can never do anything. You can never do this. And then when I say I can, I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't call it a fight. But it did create.
It could have been.
It could have been if I said
yeah,
what I wanted to say, that included lots of cuss words, because that's kind of what I do.
I mean, it was a fight.
Yeah.
But it started out as more of a silent fight.
Right.
But when I learned, now granted, I was doing my fitness, I was doing CrossFit, I was also doing Olympic lifting. So on the days, even during the week that I'd go, I was there for a minimum of 2 to 3 hours.
Yes.
And, why I thought at that time that missing 1 or 2 days would hurt me, I don't know. Because like Katie said,
because she was obsessed. That's why.
100% I was.
So that's why.
And that's fine. But I would say it was a fight. It wasn't a fight I was aware of right away.
Right. No, seriously, it wasn't.
But when you told me,
right,
I was shocked at how upset she had been at me. I didn't know that she was like so upset with me for not going that time. And
Hmm.
how soon did you tell me? I feel like it was a little while.
I feel like it was a long while
Yeah.
because I felt like I overreacted in my head, maybe. And I just kind of let it fester. So we probably talked about it. And I'm like, and dude, I really still can't believe that you did not go because you had to go to the gym. Like, I was really mad. And she goes, what?
Yeah. I was taken aback. I was
What do
like,
you mean you were mad?
at first I was like, first of all, when are you talking about? Because
Right,
now,
right.
mind you, this wasn't recent. This was
No,
even years
my
ago.
kids were little.
And and then she's like, you remember that time that and I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember that. And that's when she told me, she's like, I was so angry at you.
Hmm.
I was like, oh,
I even remember where I was sitting in my kitchen.
when you
And
told me that? Or when
I
you
was
called me?
when I called you.
Oh,
When I called you, I remember because I was like, oh, okay. And I think we broke rules, and trust me, it's gonna happen.
yeah.
You're gonna break those rules, but and it wasn't enough for me to be like, I'm just not gonna be friends with her anymore.
No,
She's,
no,
it wasn't definitely not enough,
no.
but it just resonated with me, and it still does to this day,
Hmm.
just because of her acceptance of my inflexibility over, I mean, really 30 years, and me having, oh, I can do this, and her saying no. And I was kind of, and like, I'm not going to rehash it a million times, but was it a huge blowout fight? No. But in my mind, I was super angry and I
Hmm.
was super hurt. And even though we broke some rules in that moment, which maybe worked for the best for both of us, it still came together by me finally being honest with her
Hmm.
and saying, hey, remember, not remember because it wasn't that long after. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I still can't believe you didn't go with me. And she was like, what are you talking about? And we just sort of hashed it out.
Yeah, we
And
did.
that's what you have to do.
And now, it's funny because now you look back on things and I definitely was inflexible at that time.
Yes.
Like, there is no reason that I should not have gone with her.
Right.
No reason whatsoever. A weekend at the end of summer, or,
Yep.
in the fall, like just to get away, us hanging
Yep.
out and all of that stuff. And I think we even have some pictures from previous trips
Oh, yeah.
when we've gone up there because it
We
was
went up
always
there.
just so much fun, so
Yeah.
many
And we went up
times.
there many years in a row
Yeah.
to close the house,
Yeah.
because nobody else ever wanted to. Well, this one, I think somebody fell through. So my mom called me and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go. And I'm like, oh, I said to myself, Lisa will be down with this. She'll be so excited. And it was like, deflate.
And we've even gone up there later than that at times.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we went up there one year for my birthday, which is in November. But
Mhm.
yeah, so there it is.
Yeah.
That's, there's been other times, but that one kind of stuck out in our mind because she still mentions it, which is fine. That it's okay.
Yeah.
And that was one of the times when like she was that angry, didn't share it with me right away. But eventually she was honest about it and we've.
And at that time, as I mentioned other episodes, I was still feeling left out because she was so involved. And I thought this was our time to maybe reconnect a little bit. And I was like, that was hurtful because I expected her to say, oh, yes. But then I remembered, oh, she's so committed to this that, again, and I don't have any ill will. She's fantastic. I mean, that was a huge part of her life.
It really
But I
was.
still felt left out because it was a huge part of her life that I really was no part of whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. So I thought, oh, this will be a great time for us to go and reconnect and this, that, and the other. And then I got the big, I gotta go to the gym.
And I think, like, if you put it down to a T, it's basically, you probably felt like I was choosing the gym over you.
Yeah.
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 And that's, no, I won't do that again.
No.
And it's funny because we have another story that we'll share in a later episode, where we'll talk about when we went up there after something that happened in my life. And you just kept on it. You're like, we need to go. We need to
Yep.
go. And I was like, nope. And we did, thanks to her. And I'm so glad that we did, but that's going to be for another day. That's
Yep.
that's going to be kind of a
Talk about showing up for
heartfelt.
each other.
Yes,
Talking about showing up
that's
for
right.
each other and how important that is. And I think this video is talking about a fight we had, how it happened, how we figured it out, and how we resolved it, and how following these rules is how following the 5 friendship rules is how we resolved it.
We eventually followed the rules. We didn't at the time,
Right.
but we came back around.
Yep.
So, yeah, in one of our future videos, that is definitely going to be, maybe our next one.
Yes.
We'll see. Next one or two is how to be there and how to show up for each other. And we have some outstanding examples.
Some real emotional stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Um,
For sure.
About things that how we've been there for each other. So,
Yes.
Thanks for joining the Friendship
you.
Formula.
I'm still mad
And
about it, by the way.
Still mad about it, but thank you so much. Leave us some comments below if you've ever had that same situation with some friends of yours. And we appreciate you being here, and we will see you in the next video. See ya.
Bye.
Peace.